Have you ever had the opportunity to throw somebody 20 feet in the air and be the person that they rely on to catch them on the way down? This is something that as a cheerleader you get to do every day. I've personally been cheering myself for 21 years. And I've cheered at all different levels and systems and within different organizations. Being a cheerleader has become a pretty big thing over the last couple decades. And I'm sure as everyone here knows at least something about cheerleading or knows a cheerleader or someone who's been involved in cheerleading. And with the media publicity, especially in the courts here lately, everybody thinks they know something. But really, there's so much more to cheerleading than people actually understand. Even in magazines like The Economist, people make comments about how there should be more knowledge and more information. There's people who take part in the sport and types of challenges offered that nobody really understands, all the components that go into different things like the performances and the games. In the various types of cheerleading, according to Ms. Pineapple's cheerleading website, you have recreational, school, and all-star. Within school itself, you have middle school, high school, and college levels that correspond with the different ages of children who are participating. These don't usually compete often, at most 2-3 times a year. But then you have competitive cheerleading, and within competitive cheerleading, you get to compete 10-13 times a year. And with competitive cheerleading, they have something that's a governing organization called the USASF that mandates rules and gives them guidelines to what you do. The following statistics came from the USASF guidelines. Within all-star cheerleading, you have many different levels: tiny, youth, mini, junior, senior, and open. And these correspond from as little as anything under 5 and as old as 60, opens 18 and over. And within these different levels, you have, or within these different age groups, you have different levels, 1 to 5, sometimes even 6 if you're looking at the open level. And these people perform in competitions and have people that watch them and judge the different things they do. Now that you know about the different levels in each group, let's talk about what goes into it, and that would be the routine. In being a coach with all-star cheerleading, at least you have some sort of loose guidelines. You have your score sheet, and the score sheets contain the different aspects, such as stunning, which is when you lift a person, or jumps is when you lift yourself in the air using your legs and your arms. With stunting, you have progression of levels, and that goes with the age groups and the different levels. With jumps, you have really 4 just major jumps that you see most of the time. And as a coach, it's your job to figure out how to maximize the score sheet using those 4 different jumps. You have tosses and pyramids, which usually go together for some reason. Even though with tosses, you're propelling someone into the air and catching them on the way down, hoping you don't drop them. And in pyramids, you have large groups of people lifting each other at different levels and flipping each other and tossing each other. Each go with their different levels, the 1 through 5 that I discussed before, and those numbers give you the skills that you can actually do. And the most dangerous part is people do these things and may not actually have them done correctly. In Current Health, they actually discuss the dangers of cheerleading tosses. Then you finally have tumbling. And tumbling obviously is the flipping and the gymnastics aspect of it. And this is the biggest part of cheerleading that's changed throughout the decades. They went from forward rolls and handstands to people actually twisting now. So it's gotten a lot more difficult throughout the years. And like every other skill level and every other aspect, you only can do certain things within your level. You have dance and motions, which people think of when you think of traditional cheerleading. That's all you think of is clapping your hands and putting your arms in the air and jumping up and down. And this was actually referred to as true cheerleading. Then, finally, you have appearance and appeal, which is the way you perform your routine, but also what you wear. In all the years of cheerleading, they've always considered the different uniforms, and they've changed drastically from the way they look. But it also changes with the different levels that you have. Like this would be an all-star uniform. And this is a college uniform. The all-star uniform has sleeves. The college uniform doesn't. All-star uniforms don't have to have sleeves. College uniforms tend to have crop tops because they practice and perform inside and outside, and they need the versatility. These are just two of the examples of uniforms. There's all different kinds of uniforms, and it really depends on what you're doing to what kind of uniform you're going to wear, and it depends on how much you want to spend. Now that you have an understanding of what goes into a team's routine and how they look and what they're doing, now you need to know how they're judged on what they're doing. There's really no standard judging system. A lot of people think that's a problem. Anyone can judge who is qualified, qualifications being chosen by the companies they judge for, and that really has been a big issue because people have a problem with not having an understanding of what's actually going on. Credentialing. There is no universal credentialing for judges, making the same statement as there's no real qualifications for judges. Each particular criteria is set forth based on the score sheet. Your score sheets are chosen by your host company, and they also use scoring rubrics. Now, knowing that they use scoring rubrics, and those are chosen by the host companies, the next step would be to know what those companies do. Those host companies run competitions: local, state, regional, and national. These are the 4 big types of competitions. Each competition is hosted by a competition company who, again, goal is to maximize their profit. They do this by convincing people to come. And it can be really expensive for those cheerleaders. The most expensive competition I found online was $250 a kid. And in those competitions, you get awards, you get prizes, and you get to perform against other teams who are at your same level, at your same skill set, at your same age. In conclusion, cheerleading is a very fast-growing, fast-paced sport with lots of different aspects. We've discussed these various aspects of the sport and what goes into the competition of the sport. So next time you're looking for something interesting to do, maybe you should consider joining a cheer team. Like I stated, there's many levels and age groups, and I'm sure you can find one that fits you and is right for you. There. You just turn it.